Welcome to the Divine Lifestyles Podcast. I'm your host, Tara Magalski. Together with my guest experts, I cover topics ranging from cutting-edge healing modalities to hormonal harmony, to nutrition and plant medicine, to mindfulness and spirituality. My goal is to educate and inspire so you can create your own divine lifestyle. It's time to dive inward, rewire your brain, and heal from the inside out. Welcome to the Divine Lifestyles Podcast. I am your host, Tara Magalski. Today, I am joined by the beautiful Kacey Morabito Green. Kacey has been a radio host for 30 years in Westchester. She's the host of Shine On, the Health and Happiness podcast for 13 years, a Reiki healer, life coach, retreat leader, and founder of Let It Shine Foundation to support women in need. Thank you so much for being here today, Kacey.
Thank you so much. Look at us. We're both in green.
I know. We're feeling the green. I'm in this bright green. I match my grass.
Yeah, spring.
I'm literally looking at it. Thank you so much for being here. You have such a wealth of knowledge and you have had an amazing career. So could you just tell our audience a little bit about your background and what has inspired you on your path into wellness and healing?
Wow. All right. So for the past 23 years, I've been helping to wake up Westchester on the Hudson Valley on a radio show called Mike and Kacey in the Morning. And for about the past 13 years, I've been doing the Shine on Health and Happiness podcast. You know, when I was a little girl, I was watching a movie and I saw someone do hands-on healing in the movie. And I knew, do you ever have one of those moments? I know you have, where you just say, oh my God, I don't know what that is, but that's why I'm here. And I knew that I didn't have to do anything to go towards that it would find me. So I just went along my life. I knew I had a lot to learn before I could become a healer. I went along with my life. I fell into radio right out of college. And one day, while just pursuing my world of doing yoga and Reiki and whatever else, a woman came up to me, and I was receiving Reiki, not giving Reiki. And a woman came up to me and says, oh my God, Kacey, I can't believe you're here. I never see you here. I was at an event in a place where I don't usually go. She says, you've been on my mind so much. There's a Reiki 1 class opening, and I just thought you should be there. I told my friend she had to save a seat for you, and I don't even know why I'm saying this. And I'm like, thank you. That was what I was waiting for. I was waiting for the big go ahead from the universe. And that was back in, oh my gosh, 2004 or 5. And I started to really delve into the study of Reiki because I wouldn't even read about it. I went to receive it and I tried to understand as much as I could from that end, knowing one day I'd find my way. And I did. So I became a Reiki healer, and then I became a life coach because, as many healers know, when you start to practice your modality, every session turns into like a therapy session. And I wanted to know my boundaries. First, do no harm, right, is the code of ethics with the medical profession. And it should be as well with all healing modalities. I didn't want to steer anybody the wrong way. So that's when I got the certification in life coaching. And then I also went on to study restorative yoga, which I use the science of that to help people relax when I do a Reiki session. But for years, the two lives were separate. There was the radio, and there was my other, even more authentic life that I hardly ever spoke about. And then one day the two worlds came together when I said to my boss, sort of like in a moment of frustration, I said, I wish I could have a radio show, where I could talk about the things I want to talk about, like healing and wellness. And he said, go ahead. So yeah, first lesson is ask, right? Ask. And I got a Sunday morning show on WHUD, and we called it Shine On, the Health and Happiness Show. And that was even before podcasts. That was like 13 years ago. And then I started podcasting when that became available to me. So everything really, I think, was born out of that show, the Shine On Health and Happiness show, where I really got to talk about what I wanted to talk about.
Oh, gosh. And it was divinely ordered, which I
Yeah.
love, you follow that path. You talk a lot about self-care and
Mm.
self-love, and tell us why that you believe that it is the foundation to live your life to the fullest.
I, from a very early age, went searching for tools. Um, like a lot of women do not escape adolescence without um, without some form of trauma. Let's put it
Mm,
that way. And in my
yeah.
young life, there was plenty of it. Things I never discussed. I call them the 11 things. Like, here's the
Mm,
11 things that happened to me from as far back as I can remember to 15. And I just want to bless and celebrate any woman who doesn't have one of those stories. It just so happens I have a bunch of them, which is also common because once traumatized, either by sexual abuse or physical violence at a young age, it sets up an energetic pattern. I might as well have been wearing something on my forehead because people spot that break in my energy and you can become victimized again and again. That was my history, my never spoken history. So I went looking for ways to feel good in the world. And all of that led me to where I am now.
wow. I mean, if you're
Mm.
comfortable, could you share a little bit more about some of the traumas that you did experience? Because I do think
Yeah,
it's
I can.
really important. Yeah, I think it's
I
important that
can,
we
and I
touch
hope it
on.
frees somebody. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
leading a workshop on sexual abuse or sexual trauma with women. And one woman showed up and she says, "Well, it only happened to me once that a relative, I was left in the care of a relative, and they violated me when I was 7, but it only happened that one time." As women, we have a tendency to normalize and minimalize what trauma we experience. And maybe it's not just with women, but my experiences with women. And I said to her, that one time counts. That counts, right? It's still
Mm.
with you today at, 50 years old. So it counts. Um, I think the early one of the earliest things I remember was a drunk uncle. There was a party at the house, and the drunk uncle wanders upstairs to get ice and sees a little girl in a nightgown, and he was wildly inappropriate. Another time was a relative had, I can only call it like a psychotic break, and attacked me physically to the point where I was unrecognizable. Like my whole face was beat in. I was 8 years old. I know it's so hard to hear, right? And at that time, when those things happened in a family, well, I never talked about the drunk uncle, you know, God rest his soul, because he's passed on now. I never shared those stories. And I know that probably resonates with a lot of people, stories that they never shared. But the physical abuse, everyone saw that. And I was, sent away to live with relatives for a while. And then that was never spoken of again. So, and then just other little things along the way that kind of go along that theme, variations on a theme. So I share them in the hopes that somebody is saying, yeah, me too, that happened to me too. Because there's so many things we just don't talk about. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. That was, I know it's deeply personal, but like you said, just like let your mess be your message, right?
Hmm.
Sharing, the more we share, the more we can empower others. So tell us a little bit about, how do you walk your talk, you know? You've been through it. Share with
Yeah.
us, your tangible tools that really helped you.
This is my favorite tool. I call it my MEV PEPS. I do a lot of public speaking at women's events, and I try to help people find their list of things. Because you could talk about any modality or any healing device, but yeah, the one that works is the one you do, right? So I made a
Yeah.
list of what I do. What's my go to?
Yeah.
Meditation, exercise, visualization, prayer, pampering.
Yeah.
Yes, I do get my massage once a month. Eat vegetables, sleep. And if you take the first letter of each one, it spells out MEV PEPS. Meditate,
Yeah.
exercise, visualize, prayer, pamper, eat vegetables, sleep. When I feel even the slightest bit off, I bring that list up and say, what do I need? Do I need a vegetable? Do I need a nap? Do I need a massage? Do I need to go
Yeah.
sit in nature and visualize a better tomorrow? That's my list. So that is what helps me walk my talk. And almost, it's not that I do them all every day, and it's not that I sit and meditate, for an hour every morning at 4 o'clock. No, I work these wonderful little tools into my life because that's what works for me. And I encourage other women just to find what works for them. Maybe your list isn't as long. I worked with a woman the other night, and she put tea first thing on her list, on her self-care tools. Have a cup of tea. I'm like, all right, that works for you. Tea's your thing.
Yeah. Yes. No, I love it. I love it. And I love a long list. So
Mm.
I'm with you. Massage, body work, all of that. That's a huge piece of for my mental stability because I
Yeah.
have all my issues in my tissues. So I know that I need to do that energetic release every couple weeks. So you also talk about the divine spark theory.
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, another one of my favorite things. We can believe that every child born has a divine spark. If you've seen a new baby recently, um, so if you believe a child is born with a divine spark, right? What would be in that divine spark? It would be truth, beauty, goodness, honesty. What else? Grace, courage. Like, what would be in a divine spark? All these wonderful, fabulous things. Name a few.
Radiant, radiance,
Radiance.
radiant came to
Right.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all of these things that we go looking for in life, it's wonderful to remember that we were once a child and our
Oh,
divine
yes.
spark is still in us.
Mhm.
So all of
Yeah.
those wonderful things that you would put and say, oh, that child has such a spark of divinity. That child has such wonder and awe and goodness and light and truth and wisdom in their eyes. Yes, we forget we still have our divine spark. And I think all the things I do to keep myself healthy, that's to keep my spark alive, right? It's in
Yeah.
us now. And sometimes we have to search all the way around to find it, but it always comes right back and it's already in us. So release, 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 release everything on top of it. And then sit with what's in your divine spark. It's almost
Yeah.
overwhelming.
It's so beautiful because it's that remembering, right? It's
Mhm.
remembering that your true essence. It's
Exactly.
we were born these things and we get so caught up in life and we forget who we truly are.
Right.
And it's like peeling back the layers of the onion to remember. So beautifully, beautifully said. I love that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna use that theory.
Yeah.
I've got an exciting offer for all of my listeners. The free Divine Daily Practices video series. Get simple practices to release anxious thoughts, sharpen your intuition, and rewire your nervous system in less than 10 minutes a day. Come on over to my website at divinelifestyles.com/divine daily practices. And over the next week, you'll receive a complimentary self-care system to drop into your authentic self and activate your divine intuitive wisdom. I hope you enjoy. You have done so much in your career, and one thing that I know is super important to you is let it shine.
Yeah.
So, why did you create Let It Shine?
Uh, when I started to do women's events, after the podcast was born, I started to do women's events with all my new knowledge, right? From all the great guests that I had on my show. I started to create women's events. And from that, a Facebook group was born called the Circle of Women. And that's where I would post my events and you post your events there and other women post their events and became this wonderful community. One day, someone was writing on that page, "Oh, please pray for my daughter. She is a young mom. She has 3 kids, all under the age of like 7. And she had to get out of an abusive house that minute. She had no car, she had no money. And this mom was saying, please pray for my daughter." And a woman named Karen replied and she said, "We can do more than just pray. Sure, I'll pray, but we can do more than just pray. We're a network of women. What else does she need? We'll give it to her." And I was sitting right here and I said to my husband, who was on the couch, "Honey, I'm starting a nonprofit." It was like that. I went over to LegalZoom and I typed in, how to start a nonprofit. The name came to me. My podcast and radio show is called Shine On. So this I called Let It Shine. The download. Boom, 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 boom. It just comes. I typed it into LegalZoom and I started Let It Shine as a nonprofit to connect women to the things and services they need. Meanwhile, before I had Let It Shine, my sister and I had a little food pantry in our community, in our hometown. Just a little once a month food pantry, just to make sure the moms in our hometown had enough snacks for their kids when they sent them off to school. That's all. And then the pandemic hit. And now I have 125 cars lined up the street to get into my little food pantry. So I scooped the food pantry under the Let It Shine umbrella and went to work. And I spent 2020 and 2021 and 2022 working harder than I've ever worked in my life to keep the food pantry vibrant. We now serve about 100 families a week. We came down from our high mark of 125. Now we serve 100 families a week, and we connect people to the things they need. My sister delivered a brand new mattress and bed to a mom on her lunch hour one day. We found out a kid was sleeping on the floor. We can fix that. We just sent some funds to a young woman who, she's just 17. She's driving her family to the Bronx every day because her mother is critically ill in the hospital. So she drives her siblings to the Bronx. First, we got her driving lessons so she could get her license. And now we're paying her gas money. We heard of a young family who just came to town. They fled from an abusive situation in Houston. They needed a kitchen table and a dresser. I said, go to Amazon. Send me the links. Let It Shine can take care of that. We can't pay somebody's mortgage yet, but we can make sure somebody's safe tonight. So Let It Shine is the food pantry, and it's all the work we do behind the scenes with women. And to support that, we opened a thrift store and 2 farmers markets. And so it's the healthy, wonderful lifestyle, and it all feeds into one thing. And now we've even put our women's events and retreats. I have a dog snoring at my feet. If you can hear that, it's not me, it's my dog snoring. I have 3 pugs and a cat and 8 chickens, and they're all just wandering around. So even our women's retreats and events, that's all under the Let It Shine umbrella now. It's all part of the same big nonprofit. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And I didn't see it coming.
And that's let spirit lead. So tell us where we can visit the thrift shop, where we can go online. How can people get, involved and donate or come to one of your retreats?
Great. The easiest thing to do would be to go to letitshineonline.com. That's where you can find out about the thrift store, which is at 137 7th Street in Verplank. That's in northern Westchester. And we're open Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays right now. And you can also go to caseysplace.com to find out about the retreats. We have a retreat coming up in July at Graymore Spiritual Life Center, and a retreat coming up in August at Mariondale Retreat Center. And what we do too is we find women who need to go to retreats and we let them come for free. Yeah.
I love that.
That's the story.
I love that. I love it. So do you also do any fundraising, or Like, how can people, like, how can I donate? How can I
You
get more
can
involved?
donate at letitshineonline.com. I don't like to work hard. I swear to God. I work hard finding the easiest way to do things. So the thrift store and the farmers markets support Let It Shine, right? So the
Oh,
events
amazing.
support the whole process. So I don't ever have to have a bingo game
I love
or
that.
a
Smart.
bake sale.
No,
That's
amazing.
it.
I love
Yeah.
that. We can dive into your business model in the next episode. Can you
I want people
share
to stare.
some?
I want people to steal that. It's a really viable model. Open a thrift store and let it feed your food pantry. It works.
Okay. Okay. And what kind of items do you take in the thrift store?
I'm so glad you asked. Here's our tagline: beautiful and useful things for the home in excellent condition. I want to tell you what happened at the food pantry on Friday. This lovely woman comes in and she gets her groceries, and we let people shop. It's like coming into a little bodega. It's beautiful, it's abundant. We've got music playing. All of our volunteers are in colorful aprons, and this woman comes and shops at the food pantry, and then she went upstairs to the boutique, the thrift store. It's called the Let It Shine Again boutique. Let It Shine Again,
Yeah.
because everything's secondhand. So we call it the Lisa for short. She went up to the Lisa and she came down with this huge metal, like wall decor, like scrolly metal. And it hangs this way. And on it were 5 little cups where you'd put votive candles. So just a beautiful wall hanging. And the
Yeah.
thrift store is so inexpensive. It was like $4 and it was perfect, in perfect condition. And that's at the core of Let It Shine. Groceries are great. Making a beautiful home for your family, when you can sit and look around. Here I have beautiful dishes, beautiful glassware, beautiful things on the wall. It all came from Let It Shine. It only cost pennies, right? From that place of beauty, then miracles can happen. Those miracles are none of our business. What we try to do is create the environment for people to feel protected, to feel enough, to have beauty around them, to know they never have to worry about food. They never have to worry about clothes. We got tons of those too. And we take only the very best things. I have no problem selling a brand new Coach bag for $10. No problem. Because it
Yeah.
creates joy and beauty. And people, when they're in an elevated frame of mind, can think their best, right? And then they can go out
Mhm.
and tackle some of the other issues they have to tackle. That's our
Yeah.
wish anyway.
I love it. I have so many things I'm going to come and bring. Do you have certain days where you like people to drop off? Like, what's the system?
Wednesdays are great. Wednesdays, you know what? Go to the website and then you can send an email. We'll make an appointment, and I'll have somebody on staff ready to greet you and show you all around. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Amazing. And as we wrap up here, I'd love to know, what was the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Best piece of advice I ever received was from my dad.
Yeah.
I've always been spinning quickly my whole life. I'm a mover. I'm a fast talker, a fast mover. I jump into things. As you can see, I just jump into things. The best advice I ever had was from my dad, who said, nice and easy, Case. Nice and easy. With that
Yeah.
in the back of my mind, because I'm go, 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 he slows me down. It makes me mindful. And about 1,000 times a day, I hear his voice in my head say, nice and easy, Case. That
Yes.
keeps me
Yes.
humming right along.
You and I have very similar energies. We're like manifestor generators. Like, we're like, do, do, do.
Yeah.
From the moment I met you, I said, oh, she's so beautiful. I just thought of you as a mentor. And I said, gosh, she's really built a beautiful life. And I just see all the intentionality that you built with everything that you do and everything you touch, and the community that I'm a part of through you. So just thank you for the work that you do. And thank you for sharing your gifts. And I can't wait to come. I think I can come to the one in July. So I would love to sign up
Wonderful.
for next retreat.
I'd love to have you
Thank you so
present
much
at
for
my
being
next
here.
retreat.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love that.
Good.
Thank you so
All right,
much
friend.
for being here and have a beautiful day. Thank you for listening to this episode of Divine Lifestyles Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you get your episodes. If you really loved this episode, screenshot it and share it on social media. It will help us to continue to make an impact. With gratitude and love always, keep illuminating your path.